just start by sharing a little bit of profile for House of Arts Association. So House of Arts is a network of young artists whose main is to develop communities through art. So we do this by we use like what we call our four pillars, which are innovation, advocacy, education, and diversity. So basically, we look and we use all the types of arts, and we make them promote. We try to promote development within our communities that we live in. So our network is more constituted with young artists from grassroots and those who are coming from slum communities. I think basically this is House of Art. Then from uh, from from our presentation, I'll look at probably what we discussed with Tatenda in terms of the first question. We're looking at how people are maintaining social in these global pandemic eras. So from where we come from, these are the communities that we live in. We've also realized not really adhering to the social distancing policies that are being put with you look families that we usually one there are more probably maybe more than two households within the same house, like the first speaker said and mentioned before. We see that it's hard to maintain social distancing when there are three households within one house, or in a small space. And also, as much as the government has put up measures to try and reduce the movement of people within the urban areas, it's also difficult for the people that are in the slum communities or marginalized communities, should I say, to maintain those policies, because we our governments, especially down here in Africa, they haven't set what we call relief funds or relief measures to those measures that they've put in place. So basically, uh, people may want, as much as they may want to try and practice the less movement and less loitering measures, it's also hard because most of the people from where we come from the slum communities, they live to hand to mouth businesses and in the informal sector. So at the end of the day, there is no there's no adherence to those social distancing measures. They people are finding it hard to sustain, so they end up also trying to make ends meet, and then they start also doing business as usual. And also probably also because the enforcement of these laws or of these measures does not really work also, because from where we come from, most of the police that are to do the enforcement, they come from the same communities, so they know what's happening there. At the same time, they have relations with people that are living there, so you end up seeing even the people that are supposed to be enforcing these laws or enforcing these measures also doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. So the maintenance of these measures is actually not being adhered to because of that. Then we're also looking at maybe how the challenge that we are facing as programming team, or professional challenges that we are facing in terms of trying to work around in public spaces. Uh, we Because of the lockdown that has been set, there's no public transport that is conducive, or there's no enough or adequate there's no enough transport for everyone who is also in the sector, in the formal sector, that has been allowed to work, and also those who are providing essential services. You find that people wake up early in the morning, maybe from 6 a.m. up to until 11 a.m. before they even find transport to go to work. So as much as the government has also set up these measures to say people should only use the public transport company, it is not able to also provide with enough transportation to the people that are supposed to be working, essentially those that are also working in response to the pandemic. So it also comes down to us as also people who are trying to work to also fight against the spread of this pandemic, in terms of that, and also probably the resources that we may need also when it comes to working with people within the communities. Because of course the government may say we can hold meetings of less than 50 people, but at the same time you need to also have protective clothing for everyone, that is for masks, there's need for sun temperature testing, quite a lot of things. So to also constantly have those things, that would be needed regularly. So that's why we also had to come up with maybe other initiative of supporting other young people who are doing measures of maybe creating or making designing some masks that are reusable in African way. So, and also looking at even the spaces that we work in, some of them are not really health-wise certified because they are not really conducive. We cannot work on those spaces, especially those that are owned by the government. Most of them are not conducive for the kind of work that we'll be doing, because usually we also need to have uh, sanitation, to have water and all, but the city councils are not able to provide with water. Recently, the other area of Zimbabwe, which is Bulawayo, or the council could not also continue to provide with water. It just is stopped unexpectedly. So which means the people from that area, which also has got a number that is now increasing in terms of COVID, they were more affected because they didn't see it coming, just caught them off guard. So these are also some of the things that some of the challenges that we will now be facing as people who would also want to work in these areas. Yeah, I think also Tatenda can take it up and add on to add on some of the things that we discussed.
Okay, thank you, Casper. Maybe also to just add on to what you were talking about, the challenges that we are facing in for us to do our work as the maybe professionally. What I can also add on is that, like Casper was saying, that the government, there's there are policy provisions with no resource allocation, and then like it was announced that it's now level 2, whereby all those who are formally registered can go to work, but it also came with some strings attached, that the employers that are supposed to do the COVID-19 tests on all their employees, and which it is quite expensive. A private test, $65 per test, depending. That's the minimum that you can get to work and respond to COVID-19. And also maybe what I can talk about is the interventions that you are doing in public, like the interventions that are required in public spacing during COVID-19 that we can do. As also fast, like Casper said, we use art as a tool for development, and most of the informal settlements, art really speaks a lot to the people. What can be done? Maybe there is need for us to do graffiti that communicate the measures of how we can keep the spread of coronavirus, so that so many people within the informal sector, they can get to get the message. And also is we will be raising awareness of COVID-19, and also as we are raising awareness, we are building a new culture within the community. We are bringing social change where, like in most informal settlements in Zimbabwe, they are hotspot for outbreaks of diseases like typhoid and cholera, which have same which have same means of spread like COVID-19 problem. So as how we can keep the spread of corona, advocating for more water points, we are also helping keep the other spread of diseases that are already a form of settlements in it's become another public space that we are now utilizing as an association to spread the message, like we are doing skits, raising awareness on COVID-19, how it spread, how do you protect ourselves. So we are using social media as a public space, as most of the spaces, the traditional spaces that we are used to attend to as our public spaces are now closed due to COVID-19. And also some of the things that we have noted as House of Arts is that the community-driven public spaces, those are the ones that have only been, that are now operational. The traditional ones that are controlled by government and councils have been closed because they do not have they are not meeting the regulations of the government for them to be opened. So like the churches, when we want to do our workshops, like recently we were in one of the locations in Bari, where we were to do our workshop on how we can view on the dream and design workshop. What are the dreams of the young people, and how can use those dreams, to build the vision of the communities that they want. We had to do it in a community public space, a youth center, a privately owned youth center. So what you have seen is that public spaces, like what Rasma said earlier, that they should also be responsive to emergencies. They don't have to be closed because there's an emergency. So this is what we want to work on, is also fast that the public spaces, they also get to be used as they get to be used during emergencies. Basically, I think this is what we are all about as also fast, and what we are also are doing in relation to COVID-19.